I feel as though I'm here to become a filmmaker because of, I don't know, just everything I've had to endure. And it's not necessarily me in these circumstances, but it's more just the state of being in these circumstances. And I think that every human has that emotional attachment, and I'd love to create these stories revolved around them to just really heal. It's interesting because I was brought here at the age of 5, and I wasn't able to travel back to my home country for 20 years, so I feel as though there's a lot of Mexican directors that have such a direct alignment with representing their culture in their work, where for me, I just have realized that I'm someone who wants to try and find just like the more niche pieces of how it all fits together, and that's actually something that I'm currently still exploring and figuring out.
What I like to do in my films is have it through the perspective of women, and I feel like I didn't see enough of that, and I really wanted to put my own perspective in order for people to feel connected to that and to realize that, no matter size, shape, color, what is beneath all of us is that humanness and that heart that we all have. So that's what I try to express with my films.
My last short film, Ravine, is about the evictions that took place in 1959 in the communities of La Loma, Palo Verde, and Bishop. It is a story that I didn't learn about, unfortunately, until I took Chicano Studies classes in college at CSUN. Even though I grew up being a lifelong Dodger fan, I grew up playing baseball and softball, and it was crazy to me how this team that I love so much, that for me represents family, because I would go to games with my abuelo and my tios and my tias and my primos, that they caused so many families so much harm. That's why I made Ravine, because I wanted to tell this important part of Chicano history and Mexican American history. I found that it's not job to job, and you have to keep pushing yourself to create. You're not always gonna shoot a short film and then 3 months later go shoot another one. It's very hard to get things funded, unfortunately, but you have to believe in yourself and believe in the stories that you are telling. I believe that every story that I have written and want to tell has its time and place to be told, and that when it's time for them to be made, they will be made.
I would just definitely say to just push yourself and not be afraid to go into new spaces. I feel like for me that was always something nerve-wracking. Before, when I was in City College, I was editing, but I wasn't really editing the projects because I felt like it was a big deal. And then when I finally transferred, I started editing bigger projects, and then I finally last semester became the editor for our thesis. And so I would definitely say just to push yourself to go out of your boundaries and make space for yourself and not be afraid of taking up that space.
I just feel like we see a lot of like Latino stories that are very trauma porn, putting us in a specific light or stereotyping us in a certain way. So my focus is to make rom-coms and coming of age films for Latinos, because I feel like we deserve to see ourselves in love too. I feel like I grew up with all these early 2000s rom-coms and all those things, and they're still stuck with me. But I'm like, oh my God, I would have loved to see a brown Latina be the one falling in love, or someone falling in love with her. And I feel like that way you get to impact a lot more people in return in self-love, because you're seeing someone else love someone that looks like you, and you're like, oh, if she's loved on screen, I could be loved in real life. So my goal is to just make stories like that. And literally, I know a lot of people look down on rom-coms, but I'm like, a lot of people love them. And also they're just such light stories that I feel like we deserve to see ourselves in all genres. And I just so happen to focus on rom-com and coming of age.
When it comes to color in my work, I feel like I've gravitated more towards it being colorful, but also very muted. And that's something I've just noticed in other people's work that my eyes just gravitate to. Growing up and being raised by my grandparents, we have the stereotypical Latino household where it's full of color, lots of oranges. I found lots of warms in the household, and I think that's something that I brought a lot into my own work. I think if you just go through my work, you'll just see it's very warm. And then just playing with color, I'm trying to get more into using neon colors, purples. Watching Euphoria, I was like, wow, this is. Usually I'm like, oh, color can be too much washed out. I really like to preserve the skin tone and just making our people shine in color, really.
For my future career, all I could hope for is that I am helping projects be creative that have a lot of heart behind them. I don't say that I have a specific genre or specific story that I like to do. I'm up for any project, any ride. Every adventure is a different adventure. But I like knowing that someone's heart and soul is into that project. You know, that really helps a lot in how much care and attention goes into everything. And that's all I can hope for my future career, if I'm being quite honest. Like, I could be working with a big studio name and then the next day go help out my friend for a passion project. You know, all projects are important to me. All projects deserve time and attention, and that's all I could hope that I'm able to give to my future career.
So I'm 9 months pregnant, and while being pregnant, I have produced 3 projects this year. 1 web series, which I co-produced, co-wrote, and starred in. 2 short films that I helped co-produce, and now we're in post-production for both. And I was really lucky to be in these projects with community members and friends that held me close and knew that although I was pregnant, I still was gonna bring what Gisselle brings to any set, but also caring for me. So a lot of times I was like sleeping on set when I could because it's exhausting. But I think just that chance, the opportunity for them not to, you know, turn me away. I remember for one project I was producing and I was gonna star in, but I had to step out. I was scared to tell them I was pregnant. Because I thought they didn't want the character to be pregnant. But in the end, he said, let's make her pregnant. And that was really touching to me, because pregnant people, not only in society, but in the industry, have like a stigma. I've had a few people tell me that they wouldn't promote that they were pregnant or say they were pregnant in fear of losing gigs and jobs. I think that's so silly. You know, it's not easy being pregnant. It does slow you down a bit, but I'm still the creative person I am, and I can still bring what I can to the set. So I also have seasonally worked for the Sundance Film Festival at times, and I remember this last season there was a woman and she had her baby at work, and she was able to bring her baby to work. And I just share that with you because it's challenging, these norms, right? It's like, hell yeah, I want to bring my baby to work. I want to bring my baby to set. If my baby was here right now, he would be here with me on set. I'd be like, so yeah, it's tough. I've learned a lot, you know, because not only is it hard being, you know, anything that's not a white man on set, you know, it's hard being a woman. It's hard being a Latina woman. It's hard being a pregnant Latina woman in this industry. So I'm ready to challenge being a mother in the industry and having a baby and seeing how that is.